What's happening, Bumblebees? I got my Oppenheimer fit on today. Comment down below what you're seeing, Oppenheimer or Barbie. The other one. I'm seeing Oppenheimer. I'm team Oppenheimer all day. Have you been to Greece? Do you want to go to Greece? Last time I was in Greece, I got stung by a jellyfish, so a little bit tainted, but I would love to go again. But here are the most bizarre traditions of the ancient Greeks. Yeah, let's learn before we travel. Number 10, the bird. To flip somebody the bird, or to flip somebody off in general, of course this means to give them the middle finger. But do we even know why we do this? It's automatic, right? You lose in Mario Kart, you throw it up. Why? Why do we do it? I don't recommend it, first of all, because obviously you're gonna get in a heap of trouble afterwards, whoever's on the receiving end of that bird. Said bird is gonna sail, and it's gonna be upset, whoever gets it. But giving somebody the middle finger comes from 4th century BC Athens. Yes, thank you so much. I love this invention, if you wanna call it that. The philosopher Diogenes expressed how he felt to visitors about Demosthenes. Now, he described his distaste by putting up a middle finger. Now, the idea here was that it was a phallic gesture. Yeah, the middle finger is supposed to be, you know, your and the surrounding curled fingers are meant to represent the you-know-who's, right? We're talking about, yeah, I can't say what I want to say, but we're starting this list off on a great note, aren't we? Number 9, Thermopylae. Our next stop is the coastal passage of Thermopylae in Greece, also known as the Hot Gates back in 480 BC. Now, this was a beautiful stage for a battle that became a symbol of courage against overwhelming odds, and also became a Zack Snyder movie, which is pretty cool, I guess. Under the rule of King Xerxes, the Persian Empire sought to conquer Greece. Outnumbered, a small alliance of Greek city-states led by King Leonidas of Sparta, they resisted. They said, nope, not on my watch. So about 7,000 Greeks faced an estimate 100,000 to 150,000 Persians. Now, the Greeks used the narrow terrain to their advantage, right? They knew this. They funneled the Persian forces and then they held them there for 3 days straight. But on the 3rd day, something happened. On the 3rd day, a local resident betrayed the Greeks, how dare thee, showing the Persians a mountain path that led behind Greek lines. Now, Leonidas was aware of his doomed fate. He dismissed the bulk of his army and remained with, you guessed it, 300 Spartans and a few hundred others to fight to the death. Now, although the Persians ultimately won, the Greeks' heroic stand at Thermopylae allowed the city-states time to prepare for the Persian onslaught that followed. It has since been an enduring symbol of bravery and sacrifice in the face of overwhelming odds. And again, Zack Snyder saw this. He's like, cha-ching, let's do it. A lot of abs. Paint those abs on. Number 8, column wars. So while the Greeks were going head-to-head with the Turks, they were fighting over their independence. Now, the Greeks had the upper hand at the Acropolis one day. They were surrounding their enemy. Everything was going great. They had this stronghold in their grasp. And the Turks, at the same time, were running out of ammo and, of course, options. They then began to break apart the marble columns around them. Yeah, just smashing them to bits like it's Minecraft, just to try and get lead from inside. Now, as the Greeks witnessed the destruction of their Parthenon, they panicked. They were like, please stop. They said, here, take our ammo instead, but don't break our columns. And they did. They took their ammo, continued the war, the 1821 Greek War of Independence. Yeah, here you go, Ottoman Empire. Take this lead. Now we can fight. Let's do it officially. I'd be like, take the columns. We're getting out of here. Peace. Number 7, zombies? Question mark. Yeah, it doesn't matter the context. Zombies are always scary wherever you drop them in history or culture. Whenever we talk about ancient Egyptians, we break down the process of mummification, and that I miss. Just keep everything in jars, keep everything separate, safe in the middle of a tomb. No zombies coming back to life here. No way, Jose. Well, ancient Greeks, they actually believed in zombies in some way, shape, or form. They had steps that they would take to prevent the dead from ever walking again, which is, okay, terrifying to say out loud. Archaeologists found graves where bodies were actually weighed down with rocks, or they'd be pinned down to their tombs, again, to prevent them from leaving after death. Why is that? Why are you doing that? They weren't called zombies at the time, obviously, but rather they were called revenants. Reanimated corpses that returned to terrorize the living. Nice, sounds a lot like a zombie, doesn't it? Yeah, I agree. Dr. Solosky Weaver explains that bodies found at a cemetery near the ancient town of Camarina in the southeast Sicily, they were feared to come back to life. So the town was once a Greek colony, of course now modern day Italy, but it's home to a 3rd century cemetery with around 3,000 bodies. And more than half of them were buried with coins. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend digging up anything, but just know there's some treasure and zombies possibly lying around you at every waking moment. Cheers. Number 6, stone cold. When the pandemic first began, one of the hardest things to get a hold of was toilet paper. I don't know, everyone decided to their pants or something all of a sudden. It was chaos for no reason. It's pretty important, I guess. When you run out of toilet paper, you often remember that moment for a little while. Regardless of where you are, you'll remember that forever. Start looking around for towels and props. You're like, all right, how am I gonna get out of this sticky situation? Leaves of 3, let them be. That's all I'm saying. But ancient Greeks, they did things a rougher way. Ancient Greeks would use these small ceramic pieces to wipe their bottom. Yeah, ceramic to wipe. Ha! Ow! French anthropologist Philippe Charlier expands on this toilet hygiene history in the British Medical Journey. These flat terracotta discs found in these ancient sites had residue on them. Residue like, yeah. Also, what a lousy find. You're like, oh, I found an ass wipe. I found an ancient ass wipe. Nice, I'm gonna put that in my pocket. They also discovered a Greek cup which said on it, 3 stones are enough to wipe one's arse, which is pretty funny. 3, really? I'm like, guy, I'm like 8 or 9 minimum. Number 5, naked exercise. This next one, look, I'm not saying it's unusual, but maybe I'm on board with this one. I don't know, it looks kind of fun. You ever forget a towel when you shower? You gotta do that naked silly run through the hallway. You feel like a goblin, you feel like Bigfoot just nude in your hallway. That's my favorite run. I feel like the alien from Signs just walking around, just very lanky, you know what I mean? Ancient Greeks used to work out like that. They used to walk around sweaty and naked and then lift some weight. The word gymnasium translates to the Greek term gymnasion, which meant at the time, school for naked exercise. Fun fact right there. Xavier's school for gifted youngsters or Ezekiel's school for naked exercise? How do you pick, right? 50-50. Just don't set up shop behind the guy doing squats. That's gonna be a bad time in the ancient gym. Number 4, wine time. When we think of ancient Greeks, we think of wine and parties and I guess now naked exercise. Sorry about that. But was it really a drunken festival of love all the time? Not really at all. Ancient Greeks actually rarely drank wine without diluting the hell out of it first. The water to wine ratio was 4-to-1. So yeah, you'll be hydrated, that's for sure. Regular Joes would drink at taverns and the rich would throw these big lavish house parties. And some things stayed the same over all these years, but ancient Greeks believed that drinking undiluted wine could cause blindness or insanity. Yeah, I think that's just called blacking out, my friend, but who knows? Number 3, human sacrifice. All right, these last 3 we're gonna get pretty weird. We found the remains of a 3,000-year-old skeleton in Greece, and they found the skeleton on the side of Mount Lycaon, which historians know is the site of animal sacrifice for Zeus. That's a fun place to be. We'll set up a picnic not there. Ancient writers mention this site and how human sacrifice was also at play. And thanks to technology, we can confirm that this is indeed the case. The upper part of the skull was missing and the body was laid on 2 lines of stones with stone slabs laid on the pelvis. So yeah, doesn't look really natural if you ask me. We look at Greece, of course, as the birthplace of philosophy, democracy, and 100-meter hurdles, all that good stuff. But they also did some sacrifice stuff, apparently. Yeah, you don't really learn that in school, don't ya? Science has allowed us to look all over the world as well, not just Greece. Ancient Egyptians, Aztecs, the Mayans, oh my god, this one was huge. After Mayan ball games, the losing team would be sacrificed. That would suck. Those are some high stakes right there. I would kind of love to watch that game. That's pretty crazy. Number 2, Greek statues. We've all done it at one point, we gotta admit. You're at a museum, you see a big statue, it's massive. This warrior represented has like 16 abs, he's made of bronze, he's 8 feet tall. The amount of detail got into their body is jaw-dropping, it's impressive. And then you see what they got here and you're like, why is that so small? Why'd they make this part so small and your abs are so big? Did you know ancient Greeks would make their, you know what, small on statues on purpose? Yeah, men who were well endowed, if I can say that, they were more often than not foolish in history. They only ruled for lust. So if you had a big brain instead of a big you were the talk of the town. Ladies would whisper about you as you passed them. Whenever an actor would play a fool on stage, they would be given a comedically large, you know, setup. That's how you knew that he was the villain or the fool back then, because he had a big, I guess. The way we see these statues today meant that they had self-control and intelligence, and it wasn't always about this, right? So whenever you see a big dude with a little statue, that's how you know. He was very noble lad there. Number 1, the Battle of Marathon. Every New Year's, there's always that one guy on Facebook who just becomes a runner. He has the squirt water belt, the whole shit. They train for a marathon, they do it, they tell you about it, they remind you every single day in the office. What is a marathon? Was it a person? Is it a name for 42 kilometers? Well, it was actually a battle back in 490 BC. It was a battle between ancient Greeks and Persian invaders sent by King Darius. Now the Persians arrived to Marathon, about 20,000 of them, and they arrived to punish the Greeks for supporting the Lonians, who revolted against the Persians. Now the Greeks were outnumbered, but they attacked hard and fast. They took out 6,000 Persians and eventually they just fled entirely. entirely, which would have been my plan from the start. Boom, see ya. The number of Greek fighters lost was around 200, so far less casualties. The story of Philippides came to be at this time. He ran the first ever marathon. He ran all the way from, well, the place Marathon to Athens to deliver messages. And that distance was, you guessed it, 42 kilometers. He was one of the Greek military men known as day-long runners. He did 6 marathons back to back every day. Yeah, my knees hurt just reading. We gotta get out of here. They're gonna buckle below me as I'm reading this list. I've been your host, Taylor McWaters. That's some ancient Greek history. Comment down below. Have you ever been to Greece? Would you go back? I'd go back. Maybe just not get stung this time by a jellyfish, but I'd definitely go back to Greece. See you next time on B. Bye.